Mike Phillips with Autogeek.com. And who I have here with me today is Dan McCool, the president and co-founder of Dr. ColorChip. How you doing, Dan?
Good, Mike.
You know, if you own a car and drive it, rock chips are a problem. It used to be the way you'd fix a rock chip is you'd dab in the touch-up paint and you'd go from a crater in the paint to a blob on the paint. And neither one looked good. There's got to be an easier way. Tell me there is, Dan.
There is, Mike. Dr. ColorChip invented a process about 14 years ago, which was basically a wipe-on, wipe-off process that allows you to effectively address stone chip damage quickly and in a permanent fashion. Our paint and the blending agent that comes in our system allows you to make quick repairs of stone chips in 5 to 10 minutes. A very simple, easy way to do it in a permanent repair.
Now, is this something that's complicated? Because I know a lot of people, when they think about doing rock chip repair, that's probably the biggest obstacle, is they think it takes an expert to do this, someone with a lot of years of experience.
No, it's an extremely simple process, and I'll demonstrate it here for you, but it's a wipe-on, wipe-off process. I'll show you a couple application techniques today.
Okay.
You know, once you see it, you'll understand why it's so simple and why it works so well.
Okay. Hey, before we get started and you show us actually how to use the product, if someone's out there is watching, I think one of the first questions they have is, how do they know how to get the right paint color for their car? Do you have some tips or a method for that?
The best way is to look on your vehicle. Most paint color codes are found in the driver's side door jamb. Absent being able to find your code, the next best thing to do is to call our office, and our customer support team can help you identify what your code is.
This is what you do.
Yeah, this is our business.
Yeah.
This is all we do, and we're the best.
If you have any questions at all on how to get the right paint color code, just call them. They'll tell you where to look on your car. They're experts at this.
Absolutely.
So what's the first thing we need to do when we're doing rock chip repair?
Well, you want to have a clean panel.
Okay.
Now, we can either clean this with a solution that we call Dr. Color Prep, which we sell in addition to the kits that we sell. You can also clean the hood with rubbing alcohol or even just a chamois. You just want to make sure it's free of debris.
Okay, so big picture, even wash the car, get it clean, remove
Correct.
loose dirt. So you're working on a clean surface.
Right. And normally the touch-up repairs is the last step in the detailing process. So after you've done all your buffing and compounding, then you can do the touch-up application.
That's a common question. I get asked that all the time. Mike, I'm getting ready to do touch-up repair. Do I do it before I detail my car, or do I do it after?
The last step.
So it's the last thing.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So we have our clean surface, and obviously this has a lot of rock chips in it for demonstration purposes.
Sure.
So what's the first thing a person would do when they want to start filling in these types of chips?
Well, after you've cleaned the panel, what you're going to do, if you order our DIY kit, what you'll get is, depending on the size of the kit that you order, you'll get a custom-made paint bottle in the OEM color code that you've ordered. So it also comes with these other items that you see here. Your Seal-Act blending agent, your wiping cloths, your microfiber towels, some paintbrush applicators. In some cases, if you ordered our Squirt and Squeegee kit, which is our #1 selling kit, it comes with the squeegee applicator, which is a really excellent tool. And I'll demonstrate this as well.
Now that's like a real flexible silicone, so it's going to conform to the curve of the body panel.
It is. It has a beveled edge too, so as you pull the paint across the panel, you're going to get a nice, flat, smooth finish over the chips, and it's going to dry much quicker. I mean, you can expect when you're using that squeegee, within 2 minutes, the paint's going to be dry to the touch.
Yeah, I'm looking at your paintbrushes, and those have a very fine tip on them.
Yes, this is an ultra brush. In the bigger kits, in the Squirt and Squeegee kit, as well as the Road Rash kit, you get a couple micro brushes. But this is the main applicator brush that we use when we're not using the squeegee method.
And I notice it's a lot smaller. A lot of times when you buy touch-up paint and you pull the brush out of it comes in the lid.
Yeah.
It's just this huge old
and it's
brush.
dripping all over.
Yeah,
it's
it
a
puts
mess.
paint everywhere.
Yeah.
So just by shrinking the size down, you can tell it's a well thought out product.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple different ways that I can apply this paint. And I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of them here, Mike. When you get the paint, you need to shake it up. There's BBs inside. You want it properly mixed. The pigmentations in the paint will tend to settle, so shake it up for 15, 20 seconds. And then once you're done with that, you can do one of two things. I could flip this top up like this, and I could actually put little droplets of paint on the panel. Now in this case, I'm going to show you just the typical dab and smear method first. I take the cap off, I take the brush, and I dip it in the paint. I'm going to put it next to the chip, and I'm going to just smear it across. Okay,
Yeah.
until you see coverage of the chip. These chips are black, so when you smear it across, you shouldn't see the black coming through.
Now, I noticed you're putting the drop of paint in front of the chip, not
Correct.
on the chip.
Correct. I'm putting it next to the chip so that when you smear it across the chip, it'll fall into the chip.
Gotcha.
If you put it on the chip and you try to go smear it, there's a good likelihood that you're just going to push that paint right out of the chip. And you can always see, if you see more black coming through the back of the chip, what you can do is just come back over and maybe smear a second quick pass to completely cover any backing of the chip that you see coming through the paint.
Perhaps
Now,
in a different direction?
yeah, it doesn't matter. You just want it to smear it flat because it'll make it dry more quickly. And when you go to use the Seal Act, it's going to be easier to get that excess paint off and keep paint in the chipped area. So now what I'll let happen, outdoors our paint's probably going to dry in about 2 minutes. Inside, you're going to give it maybe an extra minute or so. But once it's dry to the touch, you're ready to proceed to the second step. Now while we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to show you the squirt and squeegee method.
Okay, so that's what the brush is.
That was the dab and smear.
Dab
I
and
actually
smear.
smeared with my gloved hand. This comes with the kit as well. Always wear gloves when you're playing with paint and any kind of chemicals. But once you smear it, you're done until it's dried. And again, it's a couple minutes. If you're working at home on your car, it doesn't hurt if you let it set up for 10, 15 minutes. It's not going to damage. It's clear coat safe. It's not going to damage your car.
You can always get it off.
Yeah. If you came back a week later, you could get it off. There's a little trick to it, but you can get it off.
Okay.
So, the squirt and squeegee method, again, comes in our squirt and squeegee kits. This is a ½ ounce bottle of paint. In the squirt and squeegee kit, you get a 1 full ounce bottle of paint. That's enough to do the car maybe 30 times. You don't need that much paint, but it's reusable. So the next time you get a paint chip, you can use it.
Yeah, and that is kind of the key is if you're going to be a car owner and drive your car, you go out and remove the rock chips 1 week, you go out and drive the car some more, it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
So this is why you actually want to get this kit so you can take care of your car and stay up on the rock chips. Don't let it get out of control.
Yeah, it's an ongoing maintenance project, but once you do it and this paint's fully cured, it's a permanent repair. So it's not like you're going to have to repeat this on the entire car again. Okay. Now with the squirt and squeegee method, what I'm doing is I'm dropping droplets of paint next to these chips all over the panel area.
You have the hand of a surgeon.
Oh yeah. All righty. And then I'm going to take the beveled edge of the squeegee and I'm going to squeegee across these chips. And what it's going to do, it's going to cover those chips quickly and with a flat finish. Now you can see it's a thin layer, but those chips, the black of the back of the chip does not come through that paint.
Exactly.
All right. Now I could apply this paint in another fashion with this squeegee. Just take the paint and actually drip it directly onto the squeegee, just a couple droplets. And again, if you're only doing 2 or 3 chips, this might be a way to conserve a little bit on the paint. You come over to the chip and just squeegee it across. Okay.
Now, when I look at this, the thing that kind of gets me is with the traditional method where you're trying to use a paintbrush to drop the paint right onto the chip itself and get it nowhere else, you're actually getting it everywhere.
Right. This is not a precision application. What this is coverage of the chip. Because with our second step of the process with the Seal Act blending agent, everything that you see there, with the exception of what's in the chips, is going to be gone.
Well, that's the key to this system then.
Right. They work hand in hand. I mean, you can't use a bottle of touch-up paint from Ford, GM, Toyota, or any of the paint that's sold at the dealerships will not work with our blending agent.
What about auto parts store? There's a lot of touch-up paints you can buy just about anywhere.
Yeah, all the paints there are made in a different fashion and won't work with our blending agent.
So if you try to use it with that, it's simply not going to work.
You're not going to be able to get it off.
You're not going to get it. Yeah. So this is key. It is a system that needs to be used with each of the products.
Correct. Yeah. You couldn't just go onto our site and order Seal Act, and because you had the bottle of touch-up paint from the dealer, it's not going to work.
Okay. That's important to know.
Yes. Right now, and I came over here, touched it. It's pretty dry. Once it's dry to the touch, you're ready for the next step of the process.
And that's a real simple way to tell. Just touch it with your gloved hand.
Touch it with your gloved hand.
If you're pulling paint off, it's not dry, obviously.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So once it's dry to the touch, this is a lint-free wiping cloth. Take the cloth, shake up the Seal Act in this bottle, this has only been sitting for 10 minutes since I last shook it, and it's already separated. So make sure you shake it up.
I could see there was the bottom section was just all pink, and this was clear on top.
Yeah.
So it settled out.
Yeah, you want to shake that for just 5-10 seconds to make sure you have a pink consistency of the solution. And then just spray, a liberal amount, maybe a $half size section on that cloth. And then we're going to go over here.
Now this is where the magic happens, right?
Yeah. Well, what you want to do, I'm going to go over here, and what I like to do is just kind of moisten the area that's dry. Now this isn't completely dry yet that I squeegeed, so I'm going to give that time to dry while I'm doing this side. But within about 15 to 20 seconds, it's going to begin to activate the paint and soften it. And what I'm doing, if you notice, I'm using the flat of my hand. I'm not digging in. I'm using the flat of the hand, and I'm just going back and forth, and I'm letting the seal act do the work. Okay? And you can see if you keep your eye close to the panel when you're working on your car, you can slowly begin to see that excess paint dissolve away. And again, I'm not pushing hard. If I push hard, I'm going to pull that paint out of the chip, and I'll just have to repeat the process. But if you let that paint sufficiently dry, and which, again, 5 minutes is usually more than enough time for the paint to be dry to the touch, you're ready for this step. I'm doing very lightly. I can see that excess paint's slowly pulling away from the hood. And once you see that the excess paint is pulled away completely from the hood, and you can also see that those chips are covered, you're going to buff it with the microfiber towel, and
you're done.
Yeah, if you happen to pull some of the paint, or you want to go back over a bigger chip, sometimes a bigger chip may require a second pass to get a better coverage of it, then go back over it a second time. But that, on the left side there where I did the dab and smear method, we fixed about 6 or 7 stone chips there, and visually they're gone. Now they're still there in the panel, but once that paint's cured, that's a permanent repair. And it's a good looking repair. And it's going to prevent any rust down the road, anything happening to untreated chips.
And here's a question, because I know this is what a lot of people are going to wonder. When you're using this type of system, or any type of system, it's when you stand back 2 or 3 feet, you don't see the repair.
Right.
Your eye is not attracted to this dark spot or this chip in the paint because you filled it in.
Yeah, it's all about expectation. I mean, we don't pretend that this is a body shop in a bottle type
I like that
product.
Term. Yeah.
This is an excellent touch-up product. We're not respraying panels. Yep. This is the alternative to having a panel resprayed if you have 10, 15, 20 stone chips and you want it to look good. Yeah. And that's what it does.
But the key thing is fast and easy, and you don't got to be an expert at any of this stuff.
Correct. We sell hundreds of thousands of these kits every year, and 95% of the people get it the first time. Those that don't, they call our office and we ask them a few questions, and we usually can walk them through what they're doing wrong. A lot of times people won't read the instructions, and they may put paint directly on the chip, and then when they go to smear it, they smear it out of the chip. It's a simple fix.
Sure.
And
once you explain it, it makes sense.
Yeah, and they say,
for me.
Yeah, and I understand. You don't pick up one simple little piece of the instructions, and it can affect the results that you have. So now I'm doing this squirt and squeegee side. This paint's dried sufficiently, and what I'm doing is, again, same procedure. I'm just moistening this area. I can see that the paint is slowly beginning to dissolve, and I'm just going to keep going here. If the paint starts to stick to your wiping cloth, just moisten it a little bit more with the Seal Act, because you want it to glide.
So while you're wiping, let's talk about the word Seal Act, okay?
Sure.
So that has 2 meanings. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, Seal Act is both an activator that softens the paint, and it's a sealant that seals the paint that's left behind in the chipped areas. So it plays a dual purpose, and it's very easy to work with. It's completely clear coat safe. You could wipe down the entire hood of your car, and it enhances the shine of the car at the same time. So it's a really great product.
So it's not like some traditional solvent that people might think of. It's actually going to activate the paint that's on there, remove it, and then seal it at the same time.
Correct.
And key to this also is to point out is the lint-free cloth that you're using is very flat on the surface.
Yes,
and you're holding your hand flat. And that's key to it, because if you use something with a real long fiber nap, or
like
it's too
a terry
aggressive,
cloth or something, you
like
don't want
that.
to go that route. It's just it's too thick, and it will grab to the paint. This is just gliding over the paint. Because I'm using the flat of my hand, it's staying outside the chip.
Sure.
And it's kind of gliding smoothly over the flat of it, so it makes it keep more paint in the chipped area. Now, it's always possible in a bigger chip. You may need to do a second application to build up the layer of the paint in the chip. That's very possible, and that's something that you can do immediately, or you can wait 24 hours and come back and just continually build up that layer of paint in the chip until you're happy with it.
So if you had like a really deep rock chip, take your time, build it up, use the same technique, and at some point you'll get to the point where it looks like brand new again. It looks good.
It'll
You
look
can't tell.
really good. Yeah. And you know what? You're never going to get a body shop repair finish with this, but this is the best alternative when it comes to touch-up repair.
And of course, the paint job isn't cheap.
No, absolutely not. So, but that's it. It's a very simple process, and anybody can do it. People sometimes might be afraid to apply the paint and smear it over their car panel. We've heard that. We've had customers buy kits and say, "Oh, I'm afraid to put the paint on." There's no reason to be afraid. This is a completely clear coat safe, paint safe product, and it does an excellent job of fixing chips.
And the Seal Act takes the paint off. So if you do make a mistake, you could start over.
Correct.
Just take all the paint off and start over. Dial your technique in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely right. If I put red paint on this hood and went through the process, all these chips would be red.
Yeah.
I could go right back over it with the Seal Act and pull it all out.
Okay. What's the next step?
The next step, that is the next step.
That's it, we're done?
You go online and you give us your color code and you order.
Well, what I like about that is just like you said in the beginning, it's wipe on, wipe off.
Yes.
It doesn't get any more complicated than that. And it's a heck of a lot faster and a lot easier than the old ways.
Right.